This is big breaking news. Starting Friday, a 10-day shutdown has been announced that will last at least until March 24th. This could affect you getting your payments. This could affect services, social services. This could even affect you going to the park. So let's get into all the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos every day, keeping you updated on this big news, and it just helps to get these alerts out. I appreciate that. So this is what's going on. It has now been announced that they are going to shut it down. Senate Democrats have announced that they will block the GOP funding bill. They have until 11:59 p.m. on Friday to pass this bill, but the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has announced on Wednesday that most Democrats in the upper chamber will not support a House Republican passed bill to fund the federal government to the end of September. So this will cause a government shutdown. We are also having some Republican senators, like Senator Paul. He said that he is not going to support this funding resolution as well either. So most likely it's not going to pass. And it has been announced from House Republicans that they are going on recess until March 24th. It says following Tuesday's vote, House Speaker Mike Johnson announced the lower chamber of the Congress would recess until March 24th, leaving Schumer with the option of accepting the House bill and keeping the federal lights on over the objection of progressive activists or rejecting it and putting the nation's capital on course for the 11th partial government shutdown since 1980. All right, so that's why I was saying this could last 10 days, because it could start on the 14th and it could go till the 24th, and they're saying they are not going to pass it. We'll get into more details of what leaders in the Senate are saying, but I wanted to hit some of the services and things like that that will be affected if this government shutdown does go into place. All right, some of your big ones are things like payments, all right, any type of social security payments and veterans affairs payments could be paused, all right, or experience a major slowdown. Healthcare benefits, things like this, any type of benefits that are related to these agencies, these federal agencies, could be delayed, slowed down, or you might not get them at all until the funding is there. The funding might not even be there to give you your checks, all right? Those are some of the main things that are going to be primarily affected. Also, things like National Park Service will be affected as well too. Visitor centers could close, rangers could be furloughed, and facilities like campgrounds and restrooms could be shut down. So if you have any camping reservations, anything like that, could be affected. Forest Service recreation sites and BLM land could potentially be shut down. Also, museums, federal museums like the Smithsonian and the National Gallery of Art could be shut down. Passport services and E-Verify for employer verification systems could become unavailable. So if you're applying for a new job, you're trying to verify your citizenship, all that stuff that you have to do, those systems could be offline. All right, background check systems as well too could be slowed down. Federal FBI background check, and also U.S. citizenship and immigration services could be delayed. Federal employees also are going to be affected and experience furloughed and be furloughed without pay. All right, federal contractors and also small business administration affairs will be affected. Things like loans, microloans, working capital, disaster relief loans, all these things will be limited and the funds may not be available. IRS, Internal Revenue tax services, all right, are going to see delays from this. This is right for tax season, so honestly not great timing for them to be shutting things down. Also, Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, could see a regulatory enforcement pause. Also, the FDA could see food inspectors suspended for food inspections for things like outbreaks, stuff like that. Also, OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, workplace inspections will be reduced or halted. And also, non-essential environmental and protection agency personnel will be furloughed. All right, when it comes to the USDA, we could see research, conservation, and rural development programs come to a halt. Farm loans, crop insurance, emergency crop loans, operating loans, ownership loans, all these things could be affected. The USA and the FSA, the Farm Service Agency, actually do provide a lot of critical services for farmers. A lot of them do depend on these loans for operating funds to buy their seeds, to buy their fertilizer every year. They get a loan from the USDA to buy all their stuff, and then they pay it back once they sell their crops. Right? This happens farms throughout the country every single year, and this is right at the time where they are getting their loans, getting their money, getting their stuff going, and it's right at springtime. Right? So not good timing for that to be shut down either. Also, SNAP could be affected. All right, most likely if you have SNAPs, which is like EBT, food assistance, most likely your card is already loaded, but if your loading day period happens within this 10 days, then you could see disruptions and you might not get your money until everything catches back up, all right, till the funds are there. So if you have the money, it's probably there in your card, but if you need a replenishment of that, it might not be there while it's shut down. Department of Education is going to see major problems as well too, and they have already announced a major staff reduction of their workforce as well too. They're letting go a lot of people from the Department of Education and essentially on the verge of shutting it down. All right. HUD could be affected as well too, as well as with FHA loans, okay, which are first-time homebuyer loans. These are the programs that allow you to get like 3.5% interest rates down, or 3.5% down payment on your home. Sorry about that, and it helps to keep the interest rates down a little bit too. Through these FHA programs, so that could be affected. HUD could be affected. These housing vouchers for apartments, things like that, public housing support, all these things will be affected. Also, the FAA, non-essential staff, has been furloughed along with the TSA as well too. All right, federal courts could be affected as well if you have anything processing in federal jurisdictions. All right, so those are going to be the main things that are going to be affected during this government shutdown. Please hit it up for me down there, guys, to help get these alerts out, just so people know exactly what's going on in our country. This is going to affect a lot of people. I know it's not really going to affect me much, but a lot of people, it does affect them. They're depending on these payments, they're depending on these contracts that they have, and they're not going to go through. All right. So this is what Senator Schumer said. He said, quote, "The funding should be a bipartisan effort, but Republicans choose a partisan path, drafting their continuing resolution without any input from congressional Democrats." And he said, quote, "Because of that, Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR. Our caucus is unified on a clean CR through April 11th that will keep the government open and give Congress time to negotiate bipartisan legislation that can pass." Right? And House Republicans responded saying that this was bipartisan. They did work with some Democrats in the House to pass it. Actually, some of them did vote in the House for this bill, and they're saying that this is essential, critical funding that we need to avoid a shutdown. All right, and they're talking about doing a stopgap where they just only fund it until April 11th, right? So not even a month until they can get a complete CR through, right? So let me know what you guys think down below of this whole chaos, right? It's kind of just a show at this point, the debt ceiling, and it's used as a negotiating tactic. And the only people it really hurts is like the American people. So it's kind of stupid. But this has been a thing for a while, right? Both sides honestly do this. I'll be fair. They do when the Republicans don't like what's going on, they don't pass the funding bills as well too, right? This is what they do. It's kind of become this political football to shut down the government to get what you want, all right? So that's what's going on. And there does need to be changes, right? But I don't think the Democrats are particularly looking at changes like preventing spending, cutting spending, things like that. I think they just want to get spending for the things that they want, right? That's what a lot of these CRs are about, is just getting the goodies in for your special interest groups that are funding you. That's what it is for a lot of these congressmen, is, they got a donation from this group, so now in the CR, they got to give this group a few $1 billion, okay? Or a related group, or the cause. This is how a lot of these things work, and this is most likely the reason that, because they haven't really given any solid reason that they don't want to pass it, is that they're not able to get their goodies into the bill, right? But we don't need anybody's goodies in the bill. We don't need any extra goodies. That's the main problem here, is that we need to cut a lot of this spending. And I was reading too, I think we need to, because there's also tax cuts in this too, tax cuts for Social Security, right? No tax on that, and no tax on tips. So there are some good things in there too, besides just funding the government. But there's also funding for things like USAID as well too, like programs that Doge and President Trump have been trying to cut and stop money going to. The CR just gives them even more money. So what's going on there too, that needs to be figured out. That was definitely an issue that I was seeing with this bill that they're trying to pass. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared, staying stocked up. If you need any of these services or need any of these things during the shutdown, maybe try to get stocked up on it right now, or take care of things now. Call people now, get these things done now, Thursday or Friday, before there's a shutdown. Call the agency you need to call the VA, whoever you need to call them and talk to them now, because there's going to be a backlog too. If it does shut down for 10 days, it's going to take 30 days for them to even get back to normal, right? That's just how things work. And especially when you're talking about these government agencies, they are extremely slow, right? I've been dealing with the federal government agencies the past few months with something going on behind the scenes, and they're extremely nice and helpful, but they are overwhelmed, right? There's a lot going on, and they're pretty slow. And with even more cuts and furloughs and things like this, it's probably going to be even slower. So get these calls in now before the shutdown. So thank you guys. Hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.